Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Best of 22 and the CAF anniversary, 20 years of doing this. Welcome, one and all. I see we already have over 100 people watching the show on Facebook and YouTube, so I sincerely appreciate everybody tuning in. I did think about wearing a tux tonight, Mr. Barucci, but I did not have one in the closet, so I skipped it. Bow tie almost, but I dropped that as well. Maureen said it didn't look dapper enough for this evening, but yeah, I am wearing a jacket and a collared shirt, which I know is not normal. But hey, tonight's a special night, of course. We've got a lot of things to celebrate. Not only the best of awards, of course, but this is the effectively this 20th year that we've been in business and serving the hobby in many ways that in many more ways than I even thought we were serving all of you during this time. But I can tell you, it's been an extreme honor for us to have made it 20 years at doing this, and we'll talk more about the site and the history of what we've done and what we intend to do and all the plans that we've got later on in the show tonight. But because I really do want to focus on the awards. This year's awards were pretty special, I think, because we did hit milestones on the number of people voting, votes cast, artwork posted to the best of 2022. And, for those of you who aren't familiar with how we got this whole thing started, really, we didn't even start it. The Best of Awards has been around longer than CAF has. Actually, it started with the original Comic Art L Yahoo group and the old Longbox website that was the original site for collectors, again, long before CAF, where you could only post 5 pieces of art. And that's where that the 5 count kind of comes in with how you're only allowed to submit 5 pieces of art to this awards presentation as well. It had been hosted there for a number of years, and when that site went defunct, we took it over. So and gave everybody a better place to kind of post things. It wasn't perfect, but obviously I think over the years we've improved on the submission process, and certainly the voting process has gotten better. It can still improve, of course, but as we all know, we're always trying to make things easier for everybody. But thank you for all the kind words in the chat. I see everything you're saying. Oh, Mr. Wingo, thank you for that super chat. I sincerely appreciate it. I owe you many emails since the first of the year, and I've not been able to get back to you, but I promise you I'll be in touch soon. But yeah, it was a very interesting 2022, I think. I mean, when we look back at all the artwork that was collected, it was a very momentous year, I think, for both not only collectors, but those selling artwork as well. I mean, it was so many records were broken. We've seen so many crazy prices realized that we never would have expected 3 years ago. But it's been a very fun ride, and it's certainly 20 years down the road, it's not what I was expecting to be doing still, but I am, and I feel pretty proud of the fact that we've been able to keep CAF relevant all these years and be able to host an awards presentation like this. And thank you, David, as well. I do appreciate that. And to kind of kick things off tonight, I wanted to bring on a guest, a friend of mine who really I'd actually never met in person until this last summer. As you know, Heritage Auctions has always supported things on CAF. I mean, they were the first person, or entity to come to CAF and say, we'd like to support you through advertising or any other means that were available at the time. And, Jim Halpern has been a good friend to me, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate the support he's given CAF over the years and the hobby overall. I mean, he's running Heritage. Of course, Heritage has been a really big part of some of the successes we've seen in the hobby in the last 20 years as well. And it's just so it's my honor to introduce and bring onto the screen for the first time on the channel, Mr. Jim Halpern. Hey, Jim, how are you?
Well, I'm great. Even better now after hearing your kind words. Thank you.
No,
and congratulations. I mean, honestly, there's really no way to measure the impact that you've had on the collecting hobby, and especially the comic art collecting hobby. But if I were asked to name the most positive force in our hobby, I would have you at or near the top of the list.
Well,
I don't think that
I'm honored. Thank you.
the comic art market would be as popular or as fun without CAF.
Well, I've, for 17 years before we started doing live streams, I had no idea how fun CAF was making it for everybody. I mean, I think everyone sort of saw that, and we're seeing relationships, that were built between collectors years, and how people were able to find grails and just things that they'd been looking for years before, without CAF they wouldn't have. And
Mm-hmm.
I was never really aware of those types of relationships and things that CAF was providing for everybody, but only because I guess I wasn't really interacting with it like the collectors were, and which is unfortunate. It took me this long to get there, but so I appreciate that, Jim. I really do. I think like similarly, I mean, without Heritage, I don't think we would have gotten to where we are as well. So I think it's a lot of, kind of, you see things that were needed, and you build things around that, and the hobby grows in positive ways because of it, I think, by and large. And I think I would say we both have been large contributors to where we are today. And again, if it wasn't for you, I probably never would have made this a business. I probably would have kept this just my fun little side project. Yeah.
I think, wow, that makes me feel so good, because I don't think the business would be what it is without CAF. I think I've met so many people on CAF and made so many friends, and I just feel like I'm part of a community here.
Well, you are, and you've won a few best of awards in the past too, deservedly so. I mean, I had no idea you would have that much art on your walls, so you make me feel like I've got to hang a few more pieces up.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I don't know if you know this, but I was a comic dealer when I was 11.
I've read your bio, Jim. I know you've been at it a long
time. Before I became a coin dealer, I mean, 5 years before I became a coin dealer. So this is and I've never collected coins, only comics and comic art.
Wow. So would you ever be up for an interview where I could do a collector interview with you, Jim?
Of course I would. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to talk after the show. Maybe we can get you on the schedule. I'd love to, to talk just about that. But
it's already past my bedtime, so we'll have to talk tomorrow. But
yes, that is fine. But I wanted to thank you, Jim, for everything that you've done. I mean, you came to us, asking how you could support the best ofs and the things we were doing on the live streams, and again, you're always ahead of the curve, I think, as far as other people's just thinking about what they can do to help support CAF and help it grow. And that without you, again, it's kind of helped me push things forward. It's helped us get these great trophies that I'm able to give out tonight for the best ofs. I would never have been able to do that without your support.
Oh, you started this year.
Well, I started last year. I did send you one. Did you not get it?
I did.
No, I started last year because you guys supported us on that one too. So, but again, I sincerely appreciate everything that you've done to help us get to where we're at today. And I'm sure you would agree. I mean, I think the next 20 years are going to be even better. I mean, that's when I'm looking at the future. Some of them will be. Yes. All right. That's okay. That's the right way to look at it. All right. Well, listen, Jim, I don't want to keep you. It is past your bedtime, but I appreciate you coming on with me, and I'll be in touch. I'd love to have you on the show and talk to you.
I'd love to do it.
Collector.
Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, that was awesome. I've like I said, Jim and I have emailed for years, and we didn't get a chance to meet this year until San Diego, which was awesome. But I've always wanted to get him on the show, and kind of was always just figuring when was going to be the right time. But now I know. I'll email him tomorrow, and we'll line something up later this spring. That would be great. So we'll talk more about CAF after the awards presentation is all put to bed. And again, there's going to be plenty of things to celebrate there. But let me bring in my partner in crime in the best of awards for the past couple of years, and that is Mikhail. Hi, Mikhail. How are you?
Hello. My walls are not happy to have to follow Jim.
Well, yes, well, that I felt the same way, but I love your moniker, the best unpublished host. That's probably a comment on the unpublished published kind of thing we have going on here with the award ceremony tonight.
Well, thank you for having me. This is always such a treat, and I'm excited to see what happened.
I am as well. I am as well. And you know, as with every year, I think that you know, I'm always happy when we have larger participation. Now, I don't have the exact numbers for everything, but you know, I know overall we've had about 10% more pieces submitted this year than last, which is always a positive. So you know, I always encourage people to participate. I wish people would understand that it's not necessarily, you know, it's not going to win. 99 times out of 100, you're not going to win, but you want to get those pieces back out there. I mean, we're proud of our collections. Everyone should always be picking their 5 most, they're in their opinion, their best pieces to put out there so that they can get eyes on them again. You know, you think about it, a lot of artwork gets posted in the first 6 months out of the year, right? And we forget about it. And we don't really have a mechanism for going back and looking at them. But the best of gives everyone that opportunity to get their artwork looked at least one last time. And, I encourage everybody, when this comes around next year, we should have over 2,000 submissions into it. So I think this year we're just over 1,800. So, which is a good number, But,
and I was reading in the comments earlier that there were new voters who found the process very easy and manageable. And so I was really happy to read that.
Yeah, I mean, we made a couple changes to the voting process where you could actually stay on the main page and look at the larger images. There's better ways, there are other ways to do it. I mean, somebody mentioned that why don't you make it work like Heritage's website? So you just hover over the image to make it bigger so I don't have to click on it. So, I mean, there are always going to be improvements, and it's always good to get that kind of feedback from people on, to streamline things, because it does take a lot of work. We talked about that numerous times, voting in 11 categories and looking at 1,800 artworks. You're not going to do that in one sitting. So we do need to make it as easy as possible so we can get, more people participating on the voting side of things.
And I know that the change you made, adding the artist's name to the entries was also very well appreciated, and that rolled out really quickly and made things easier as well.
Yep, that is true. Brian was like, why don't he gave that to me on my to-do list for next year, and I was like, all right, I'll do that this year, just since you've asked. I like Knights of Old saying that Bill's official motto: 99 times out of 100 you'll lose. It's probably even worse than that, but that's okay. I mean, it's all about participation in this thing, everybody, and not worried about. You should never worry about whether or not your art stacks up against the other pieces that are out there. And I'm missing a few of these, but thank you, Doug L, for 2020. I love that. But yeah, it's always a good time. That's the thing. Like when I owned the miniature golf course, I saw somebody teasing me about that in there. My favorite event of the year there was the tournament that we hosted. It was like my one event. We host events for people all year round, but the one thing I got to do that was mine every year was this tournament. And same thing here with CAF. Being able to host a best of is really our opportunity to kind of shine and remember, what got us to this point. And it's not all about the art, even though we're focused on the art here. The hobby is much bigger than just the artworks that we collect, and it's something that we should never forget. And I think that's it's been more, it's become more. What I'm trying to say.
I think people are going to be excited to see where these are in 5 years from now. I think the long-term vision is really exciting, and there's so much that the community can invest in these awards. So I think that'll be exciting to see.
That is very true. And Prince Namor, thank you for that. Imperious Rex as well. But yeah, no, it's so anyway. So I'm very happy that you're here again with me, as always, Mikhail. It's an honor, and
it's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
You've helped me out immensely, as have I've got a few other guests that'll be joining us after the ceremony's over to kind of wind up the show. And I think so many people, including everybody in the chat, has certainly made these shows and this hobby so much more fun for me over the last 3 or 4 years. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate having all of you around. But yeah, why don't we kind of get into things? I can tell you that I know that I've sent out an email because the person who said that they might join us tonight is the person who's won the first award. And we are going to go kind of in reverse order on the awards tonight, everybody, just to kind of give you the scoop on how we're going to do it. Covers will be last. We'll be starting with the published, unpublished, other category to get things going. And, let me go ahead and switch over to here. I mean, there were quite a few pieces added this year, only 64, but I think last year was only around 40. And other, of course, is always a tricky category to figure out what should go in there. I mean, typically people are posting artworks that obviously just don't fit into any other category. And it could be things, certain things like, we've got some illustration artwork here. I know that in some cases, I mean, you got a Phil Hale painting in here. I mean, something that doesn't really fit in too many other categories. I mean, I know like Kirk's piece here was a cover. Maybe that's misplaced, but the challenge with Bust Of always will be that we're not going to go back and police it. So we're kind of leaving everybody open to what their interpretation of our definitions for the categories are. But
I believe there's a panel page that garnered quite a few splash votes. So, each to their own.
That is true. That is true. And I was kind of chuckling before, but like 20 minutes ago, I was looking at a piece that I know that if we put it on the, on our Thursday chat and talked about it, people would be calling it splashy, but it's in the interior category because it's made up of 2 or 3 panels, right? So you get this thing that in any other day you would call a splash page for sure, but you get to put it in the interior category, and you're going to get a lot of votes because it's pretty close to being a splash and very, very exceptional. But so with this category again, it's as other. I mean, we're always going to have another because there's always going to be a place for things that just don't fit. But I do think that after this year, and I'm pretty sure we said the same thing last year, Mikhail, that we were going to like revisit categories. I mean, we did get a DPS category this year, but I do think that some overhaul over the categories with better definitions would definitely help. And even if it might break things out into a couple extra categories here and there, it will certainly, like sketch covers shouldn't be in the same category as convention sketches, because typically your sketch covers are just not going to get picked. Although we actually do have one in that category that made it into the top 5 this year. So it makes it a little bit more fair, but I do think, we should all sit down after this awards are over and revisit how we can kind of clean things up. And we'll solicit feedback from everybody too. Not tonight though. We'll save that for a CAF update maybe next week. The CAF official definitions glossary. Thank you, Black Piper. There is one out there, believe it or not. But anyway, let's get to this other category here. As I was just trying to scroll through and show off a few of the pieces. I'm not doing a great job of it, but again, some pretty fantastic pieces submitted, and many of which you're like that you're not going to see when you see the top 5. And it's always subjective, of course. So let me go ahead and close this window, and I will show you the top 5 artworks from this category. And here we go. So like I just mentioned, this is Kirk's piece of art from Immortal Red Sonja issue 2. It is a cover put into the other category, but it did garner several votes for this. And then, of course, Dino's wonderful Secret Wars retailer poster art from 1985. This is, Drop Dead Gorgeous. It's Huge by Ron Wilson. Then from Sideshow Bob's collection, this is the Batman Dark Knight Returns issue 4, page 20 color plate, painted by Lynn Varley, and, of course, Frank Miller and Klaus Janson artwork as well. Then Mike Rice is honored here as well in the top 5 with this Bernie Wrightson. It's an unpublished page, so not sure exactly what it was from. And finally, Benno, good friend Benno, has this wonderful Spaceman Spiff meets the Silver Surfer #4 piece in here. I guess it could have been in the commissions category, but it wound up in the others category as well. And the winner is going to be the last artwork standing as they fall away.
Congratulations, Bob.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to see Bob's name a few times this evening, but this one's pretty spectacular, of course, and very, very deserving. And as a matter of fact, we have the man of the hour in the studio with us tonight. Hey, Bob.
In the safe house.
Actually, it's hanging on the wall. So
unbelievable. That is awesome.
So it's not a color. It's not a color guide.
It's an other.
It's an other. So
congratulations.
Category, I'll happily take it. But thank you so much. That was fantastic.
I've had the pleasure of seeing that in person, and it is it really shines in person. It has this beautiful quality to it. So very well deserved.
Yeah, I mean, without question. I mean, I've actually never seen one of those pieces. I'm very curious to see it. Hopefully one day I will. But with her painting underneath the acetate, I think they're gorgeous. They're amazing, and clearly, I mean, it's something that was very deserving, and a lot of people felt that way as well. I mean, you were pretty far ahead of any other competition as far as the voting went. So I'll never say the runners up, but it was a decisive victory for that piece. A lot of people
That's
loved
awesome.
it.
It's a real special piece for me. The my daughter had asked how to draw horses, and I whipped out my trade paperback off the wall and I opened it up to that page and said, "This is the example you want." So when I was able to secure it, it was a big day in the household. So. All right.
Well,
I don't want to hold up the rest of the awards, so go ahead. You can cut away from me.
No, well, Bob, I'm glad you're here. You're a longtime collector. I hope one day we can get you on the show to talk about your collection or a little bit about the hobby. You know, you've been around a long time. I know I throw great parties, although I've never been to one. I've heard they're fantastic. So, yeah, but one day we should, you know, if you can make the time, I'd love to have you on the show. And again, congratulations for being our first honoree tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations, Bob.
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, you know, as I told everybody beforehand, we were trying to get some of the people to be here tonight that I knew were going to win. I think we'll have at least one other person, but I can't promise that. We'll see how it works out. But you know, it was so fun last year when we were able to get those acceptance speeches after the fact. That I forget who was responsible. I think maybe Larry or somebody was out there trying to solicit getting a few of those, and it was fun to be able to see what people thought about winning awards. So having them be on live with us tonight when possible, always a good thing. Larry's giving Bob a hard time. Of course, they have T-shirts with Spectre. Well, now you've seen one. Larry. But yeah, no, that's fantastic. So our next category of the evening is the published, unpublished, non-comic art, cover, pinup, illustration, gaming art, and it's always an interesting category because you know it's typically some very high-profile artwork ends up in that category, and this time around I'd say it's pretty much the same. There were a lot of fantastic pieces in it, and the voting on this one was actually very, very close. The top 5 were all pretty much within 10 votes of each other. So Anthony, you're not going to get an award for most art owned in the country. Sorry, there's not a trophy for that yet. But yeah, so back to this. So what do we have here? I can go ahead and show the top 5 vote getters in this category. Again, non-comic cover, pinup, illustration, and gaming artwork. First up, this is in the collection of Doug Ellis. It's a piece from Weird Tales from 1938 by Virgil Finlay. Just a gorgeous illustration. I think we featured that on a CAF update. Then Sideshow Bob as well. This Cycle of the Werewolf book illustration entitled April by Bernie Wrightson. I'm so jealous. I love all of the illustrations from this book and will never own a single one of them. Next up from Malcolm Bourne. This is a Mark Schultz piece entitled Lookout. And it's gorgeous. Who doesn't love Mark Schultz's work? And again, this is a Karen S. Bruce Timm, The Big T's, page 93, The Red Dress. Just a fantastic noir piece by Bruce Timm. And finally, in the collection of Zadok L., this Frank Frazetta. Wonderful illustration. I believe it was a book cover. I should have wrote it down, but I did not. But it is stunning. And now we can see which piece has won the top honors in this category.
Wow, they were all gorgeous, and but this is really spectacular.
Yeah. When this piece came up on CAF, you just knew that it was a really special piece by Frazetta. I mean, so often we're used to seeing finished paintings or ink pieces by him, but to see a piece that's still that loose and rough and something that he didn't go back in and rework, I thought was just a joy to have on the site. Just so
it's almost more comic booky, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the luxury of spending that much time on it. Look at the heavy hitters we have in these early categories. I
agree. And and again, people who I think whose work we feature quite regularly in the CAF updates, but it's nice to see them get recognized here as well by everyone who spent time voting this year. And I can tell you, I know we were over 400 people who cast votes this year, so that's a definite improvement, and we sincerely appreciate all of that. Thank you. Yes, the Frazetta is the Jungle Tales of Tarzan. Thank you, Ray. And I saw you ask earlier, Ray, about whether or not we'd be showing vote counts and whatnot. I mean, we haven't really, have we done that in the past? I don't believe that we've shown the final votes on things, but I'd have to go back and look and see how we do the final lists out there. But I can tell you that on email when we post the actual page on CAF, where you can see the top 5 pieces and look at them in more detail at your leisure. But that'll be sometime tomorrow after Maureen and I do a couple tweaks to some page code. But I'll send out an email for that. But I don't think it shows the counts. But when it's close, I'll definitely let you know. But in this case, it was very close for all 5 of those pieces. Was there an under 10K category? Yeah, and that's always, we could talk about that as well. I remember those kinds of thoughts came up last year as well, didn't they, Mikhail, when we talked about
it's in how people vote at the end of the day. It's your mindset, it's what you're looking at, it's what you're interpreting. It can be very interesting to see how these things play out. I believe the vote count was out a couple of years ago at least.
Okay, then if it was, then it will be. I've always followed the same thing. I didn't really check to see the final what the final stats pages that we put out there have, but if it was that way in the past, then it will be there when we post the things tomorrow, guarantee it. And if not, since you said it is, you can see vote counts for 2021 right now. All right, well then there you go. They will be there. Thank you. I should have checked all that before the show started, everybody. Or I should do these more often than once every year. All right. I get it, guys. I get it. They'll be there. We just have to turn it on. We have to turn that page on for everybody. All right. So moving right along, we do have a few side awards this year, like we did last year. One new one, but a few other ones that we've done before. So before we move on to the next art category, one that is kicking around some things with Maureen, just trying to figure out what things can we quantify on CAF. And I thought, why don't we at least see how many, who the top people putting likes on artwork are. I know we appreciate comments so much more because it's so much more fun to get those. But I thought, why don't I see how many? Because I don't know how often it really gets used. I mean, people's, always hear from collectors saying, oh, I click like more often than I do a comment, because it's easier just to click a thumbs up than it is to actually write something meaningful. And
I believe I have more comments than likes in my gallery.
Really? I'd have to go back and look at mine. And that's probably true. I'd say probably more people do prefer to do comments because it is more meaningful. But so I wanted to see what the like counts were, and so Maureen ran a query for me, and so I'm going to give a best award of 2022 award to somebody who put the most likes in this year. So let me go ahead and just do the little video clip to show that off.
Wow.
Yes, that is a very, very solid number. Rob T, congratulations. Member since 2018, just had their 5th anniversary on the site and put a whole lot of comments in there. And I was trying to see, Maureen had given me the list and I thought I had it pulled up here. I can tell you, Rob T did incredibly well, but other people who put a lot of likes out there are Richard Rogers, Bill J, Tyler T, Halbert, Derek Crabb, Duke Fleed, of course, #1 Groove fan, Grant Riddle. I mean, so a lot of folks really enjoy and putting those out there, because even the lowest person in there in the top 10 still put in over 2,500 likes throughout the year. And of course, likes are
sharing the love,
quantified on the site as well. So congrats to Rob there. And Rob, he actually has a site that if you don't know about it, you should definitely check out, because it's called buyfromcomicartist.com. I mean, I don't think we've even promoted that ever on CAF, but I've happened to pop over onto a few times because it just maintains a list of artists who aren't repped, who sell their own art direct, and links to their websites or their Instagrams or whatnot. And so Rob is doing a service to the hobby, definitely. So, James Siegel has been to that site. So there you go, Rob. Well, Rob T is the person who manages that. So definitely give them a high five when you see them. And I'll be reaching out to them to get them their best of 2022 trophy. Look at that. All right. And I should say thank you to my Uncle Mark for printing these again for me and shipping them from Texas. A couple of them arrived damaged, so I've got to have a few more reprinted. But these ones are nice, and they're even more solid than last year. They're I don't know. He just did something different, but the bottoms they're weighty, They're very solid. So thank you for that.
And as we discussed, these are a rare variant.
They are a rare variant. You know, I didn't last year when I got them, they were rough. If everybody remembers, when I showed them off, they were all gray, and so I had to paint the emblem on it gold. I had to take care of painting the hammer and whatnot. Right there, you go. Thank you, Mikhail. And so they did end up looking a little different when you got them last year. I even roughed up the rocks and whatnot. But this time around, Mark had some gold filament, so he printed it in gold, so I didn't have to worry about that. He printed the end of the hammer in black, and he even painted the handle on the hammer for me. But he also did glue it on. I didn't ask him to. He did that. So the variant for this year is that you can't lift the hammer off. You're not worthy. It's the unworthy trophy, unlike last year's worthy trophy. But again, absolutely, positively gorgeous. And the thing is, you can actually kind of put your own decoration on the end of it if you like, because there is a spot for putting in a leather strap, whatever, piece of yarn, I don't care, or nothing. So there you have it. But thanks to my uncle for doing that again this year, and for Heritage for helping me be able to afford to do them. So congrats to Rob T on the number of likes. I think by far he was well over 1,000 over the closest competitor in that category. All right, so moving right along, we're going into the published, unpublished media artwork. Now, I would think if it's media artwork, it's probably always published, but I can tell you that I know that one of the pieces, okay, I don't know this, one of the pieces may or may not be published, but I think we'll be able to get the answer from somebody who's in the chat or around here soon. Now, this is a category that I think almost every year there's a few artists who always dominate this category, and this year is definitely no different. And it's no wonder why, but you'll know it from the first piece in this category for media artwork. Of course, Drew Struzan, fantastic artist, has his own gallery, Galactic Gallery in Texas. This is in the collection of Monty B. Monty has an amazing collection and several Struzans, as we'll see in a minute. But Sideshow Bob, congrats Bob McCann for another piece in here. This is a piece by Tom Young, and it's absolutely awesome. It's the Star Wars Empire Strikes Back pencil prelim piece. Then Monty B has this Struzan piece as well. This is from Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, final advanced poster artwork from 2007. Then Mikhail, your piece from Andrea Cucci, and it's gorgeous. You just labeled it as Star Wars, so I don't know if it's published or not, but very deserving, as many of the people casting votes.
Wow, I mean, Monty had a fantastic year. I was watching, but this is, and these are all just gorgeous. I mean, I hope he's so proud of the Struzan additions he's made this year. They really have been fantastic.
Without question. I was so happy to see so many Struzans make it to CAF this year, and a very deserving piece, the Indiana Jones and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. In Monty B, yeah, Monty, it wasn't just in these types of pieces too. He picked up a few other spectacular comic related pieces. I mean, he was
one of the first people I bought from on CAF when I started collecting. So I have
really?
a very soft spot in my heart for him. Yeah.
And the Muppets piece, I didn't get to mention it, but that was from Muppet Treasure Island from 1995. That was the movie poster artwork. So Drew is just an amazing, amazing artist. I mean, obviously, always sought after by Mr. Lucas. So if Lucas likes you, you're pretty good. And I've never made it to the Galactic Gallery, but I would love to visit it one day. There's so many Struzan originals there, and
commanding a premium price too.
Oh my gosh, absolutely, and deservedly so. I mean, they don't need to auction those off. They're already doing incredibly well. Bob McCann says,
I'm not mad. I was thrilled that it got picked, to be honest.
Yeah, no, but is about Stanley saying, "Are you mad that you lost?" No, I mean, it's an honor, right? I mean, to get in the top 5.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was a little bit surprised by that one. And it's not published. It was a recreation piece that the artist did.
That was what I thought, because I feel like either we featured it or you and I talked about it sometime, but yeah, it was fantastic, and you were up against some very difficult competition in the media category. But I can say, I'm just looking at the votes there. Definitely the Indiana Jones and the Harry Potter were hands above the next closest piece in that one. They were, but of course, And you know, the one thing that we're going to see throughout this evening, I think, and I should talk about it now, just so I don't forget at the end of the show, is that, you know, I'd say by and large pieces that people gravitate to either are from stories that they remember very fondly, and you know, of course, that involves not just the penciler and inker, but the writer as well. But I think by and large, when we get into the published art towards the end of this presentation, you're going to see that a lot of those pieces are from spectacular stories that we remember, or series that you know, or storylines that were really important to many people. And I think that that's a big part of what we appreciate about the hobby. And the art's beautiful, but sometimes also it's the content around it. And you know, you can
I think there were a lot of mid 40-year-old, 50-year-old people who were thrilled to see a Muppet Treasure Island piece. You know, I really do.
Right. I mean, it's you know, I hate to say it, I've never seen Muppet Treasure Island from you know, it's from 1995. Maybe I should go watch it, and maybe I had that same feeling. I did see Harry Potter and Indiana Jones, of course, but
well, it's
but
not Muppets Take Manhattan, but you know, it's
but I agree. It's but I think it plays a big part in all of this. It's not always just like, oh my gosh, it's a Frazetta, or all, you know, it's a Wrightson or whatnot. It really comes down to, you know, a lot of other factors that aren't that are just baked into the art that we love. So yes, you didn't miss a whole lot, Tim. We're only we're just a few pieces in to this whole thing, and I got to send another email here. But yeah, I think that's part of the allure of our hobby. Is, you know, again, there's some people who just collect certain characters or certain artists, as we know, and you know, it's all adding.
For the most part, the medium is a collaboration, as we keep saying, right? Writer and artist, penciler and inker. Once in a while, you'll get someone doing it all, but it's a very collaborative medium.
I agree. And there will be no cake break tonight, Brett. I am sorry to say that. And it's not, and as Rob just said, it's not always about the price of the art, and that is true. And I think we're going to see that a few times over tonight, but you never know. It is a lot of times you know, the pieces we love the most are the most desirable, so it does drive the prices up on them. So you can't always say that you know, that there are things that are under the radar price wise that can make it into our top 5, but the nostalgic factor is real. Thank you, Brett. I completely agree. And as Nick has said, hit the like button, everybody. Thank you, Nick.
Well, I'm sure Monty B is going to be thrilled when he wakes up and catches up.
And thank you, Rob. Wolvie Fan has done a $50 super chat, Guinness money for Bill. Happy 20th. And that's a good time to remind everybody that is coming to the event here this weekend. It's been a busy week here, just getting the house ready and prepping for this show. But as many people know, we are having a in-person 20th anniversary celebration here at my house in Florida on Saturday. And I'm encouraging everybody to bring a portfolio if they can. And we'll be looking at a lot of art. I'll have a lot of tables set up. It should be a good time. Won't be broadcast live, though. We'll take some videos and photographs while we're there, I'm sure, and it'll be a part of a CAF update afterwards. But yes, thank you so much, Rob. I sincerely appreciate that. So I know that I did email with the person in this next category, and they did say that they might be able to make it. So we'll see if they can join us, and if not, maybe if they join us a little bit later, I can bring them in, and they can do their acceptance speech then. But our next category is the one I mentioned at the beginning of the show, the unpublished sketch covers and convention sketches category, which is just really, I think it needs to be split up just because of the fact that we do have a lot of people who exclusively collect sketch covers, and they just can't really compete with an overnight con sketch that somebody's going to get. It's simply not fair anymore. And I think that, you know, so next year we will see this split, and it makes a lot of sense. And I'm just looking at the list here, and I can tell you that in this category, we did have a tie for 5th place. So I did show in this presentation, there's going to be 6 artworks that you see because of that tie. And let's go ahead and play the video for that, for the top sketch covers and convention sketches. So first up, this is in the collection of Brian EPCH, and it's an Arthur Adams Zatanna, absolutely gorgeous. And this is also in Brian's collection, a Frank Cho, another Zatanna. So I detect a theme here from Brian. A very nice piece there. And you've got Snape in the background as well. Love that one. And here, I think this is probably the first sketch cover we've gotten in. It's in JC's collection, artwork by Stanley Art Germ, Lau, of course. And it's gorgeous. I love it. I mean, we need to, I'd love to see a category just with 5 of those next year. Then this one is in Miko Batto's collection. It's the Batgirl by Bruce Timm. Very stunning. And Dave Kopecki, congratulations. You've got a piece in as well. This is another Arthur Adams piece, Savage Land Rogue, done this last year. And finally, Ray Cuthbert, this Gary Martin, Marilyn Monroe piece. It's stunning. And
what a
well
stunner.
deserved.
I mean, can you imagine picking that up at the end of a show?
No, not at all. I mean, it's so wonderful. Gary Martin's a fantastic artist, as are all the artists in this one. And this one goes to Bruce Timm. And congrats to, if it's Miko or Miko Batto, I mean, or Beto, I guess, I'm not sure. But Bruce Timm did a fantastic job on that piece. I mean, all the pieces in there, I thought
they were all stunning. Yeah, absolutely. They really just all had great appeal.
Absolutely. And I can tell you 7 votes separated all 6 pieces. So wow. That is how close the voting was in that category. So I can't wait to see when we break it out with, you know, just sketch covers and versus convention sketches. But yeah, 7 votes separating them all. And that's probably the closest category with the voting that we had all night. But congratulations to everybody who got in there in the top 6 technically. But all very deserving. And yeah, back to that piece by Ray. You know, I didn't, it was just, I was like, wow, that is darn good, man. I felt the same way. I was like, I typically don't look at pieces that aren't spandex or whatnot, or, you know, but this Marilyn Monroe piece was just fantastic. So
they were having so much fun with that sweater.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And very restrained. Like it was detail heavy in the right places and then just very free and loose in the rest of it. It worked really well.
I completely agree. Any acceptance videos tonight? Sorry, Stanley, no. Maybe we'll get some for the show. I was trying to get people who were able to come on live, and I actually did email Miko, but he said he was in Hawaii, so he might be working hours for him right now. He might not have realized I meant you know, in the 9 Eastern time frame, but we'll work that out. If I can get a recorded speech from him as well, that would be fantastic. I was not familiar with their collection prior to seeing that victory. And I'm trying to follow the chat a little. Feels like commissions, says Chris. Yeah. Again, we know we have work to do. We'll get a round table on this one. I think that would be the way to approach it. So we will divert a little bit here, and we will go to another one of our special category awards, and this is for most art posted to CAF in the calendar year 2022. And maybe this CAF gallery has a bit of an edge. Okay, so Jason says he's in. I know you're not very opinionated, are you, Jason? So we'll have Jason on there for sure. He's voted to be on that round table. But so for the most artwork posted to CAF in 2022, like I say, I think that this.
If it's who I think it is, I can even tell you the number because they were 40. They were 40 short of 4 figures.
Well, this one actually made it to 4 figures, but I do have a list of the full top 10, so you might not know this one. I can't say that I've been in their gallery too often, but I have seen it, and I'm saying there because as you can see, the collector is actually a pair of collectors, Misty and Christy Puckett, members since September 2011. They posted 1,028 artworks in the calendar year. Now there were a couple dealers that posted more artwork than them, but coming up very close behind them, and maybe this would be Michael Chad Clow. What do we got there? Robert Riley, Dr. Bob, Nick F, and Ronald Shepard, Joshua Evan, and Mickey were all in the top 10. So I was trying to just run through names that I know we see a lot on in the chat. But Misty,
congratulations on your massive uptaking of CAF server space.
Exactly. And I was like, what do they post? I had to check their CAF gallery. It's mostly commissions. So, you know, there were other pieces too, but I think 2/3 were commissions. So fantastic, but it's a team. So together they were able to win that award, and congrats. I will be reaching out to them to send, I get, maybe it's 2 trophies I have to send. I don't know. No, it's one gallery, 1 trophy. I think that's how it's got to work.
It really is amazing. The awards open you up to new, interesting thoughts and trends in collecting that different collectors have. And I was recently going through somebody's gallery, and they had over 100 George Perez head sketches. I mean, it's incredible to have that. That becomes a resource, you know, at this point in time, where you can just see Perez working on different head sketches and changing different things and how he works. So it's really amazing that people have the dedication to go so hard and heavy at these cons.
Exactly. And, you know, I should have mentioned it even with the last category. So we always talk about this too. It's just great that people commission artists, go to cons and get sketches. I mean, you know, we're all helping, you know, support artists, but we're also putting new artworks out into the ecosystem that just wouldn't normally be there. And I think that, you know, that's something that is just fun and exciting, and it's cool to be a part of, you know, especially whether it's a con sketch or a very expensive commission you might get from somebody. You know, we're all playing a part in the hobby in a unique way, in getting more great art out there. And I saw that when we gave that award to Misty and Chrissy, I saw Tatiana mention that you know, she said, happy to say part of those pieces were from me. And I saw Ken from 4C also said that they are awesome people. So, you know, it's nice to have some of the reps in the audience tonight as well, because, you know, again, you're all part of this too. Without you helping facilitate these sales and commissions and things, that we wouldn't have as many spectacular artworks out there on CAF circulating amongst collectors today. So it's a wonderful thing. I'm really, you know, I'm always.
In fact, I was just in a conversation with a smaller press rep who was perplexed that a smaller indie show didn't seem to be welcoming reps in. They wanted artists, like an artist-heavy show. But the rep does so much to help an artist get their pieces out there, and to organize the business side of things, and to help. You know, I've always said an artist is an artist. That's how they've chosen to express themselves. They're not a business person. They're not, you know, if they have any of those qualities, that's a bonus. But someone to help get that art out there in a timely fashion and to keep things organized, that's fantastic.
Right. And you would think anybody starting a show would want to go to the rep, because that's, you can go to one person and maybe contact 20 other artists, versus going to the artist. That's, well, hey, so every show is different, I guess, in the way they'd want to approach things. But yes, again, congrats to Misty and Christy for that honor. And
congratulations. Then thank you. You enriched CAF.
I'm going to have to, well, I'm going to get the email out to them and welcome them to this award. Let's see. Anthony says Sharon's. Yeah, we all know that, Anthony. We do know that. The next award. Where are we going from here? Now we're going to the commissions award. Now this is, you know, it's actually listed as commissions and recreations, though I can tell you, which probably should be separated. I hate to say it. If someone's actually getting an homage, and it might be homages and recreations, would probably be a better category just by itself. I don't, you know, commissions and recreations, I don't know, what do they really have to do with one another? I mean, so at any rate, the commissions category is, well, the top 5 are all commissions. Let's just put it that way. And they are all quite fantastic. And I believe we featured most of these on the CAF update, thanks to Chris and I. So let's go take a look at the top 5 commission vote recipients this year. First up in the collection of Seamus and Sharon, this commission is by Craig Keats. Isn't it?
It just jumps out at you. It's unfair because thumbnail up, it's just spectacular.
I agree. This one's in Fabio C's collection, Uncle Scrooge, of course, and it's by Riccardo Federici, and we featured this one as well. And this is in TMD1's CAF gallery. Art Adams, of course. Just a stunning piece. Congrats, Tariq, on this wonderful piece added to your collection this year.
Obscure character.
Now, this one's a jam piece in the collection of Matt E. I mean, it's Jim Lee, Scott Williams, George Perez, Alex Ross, Travis, Finch. I mean, the list goes on. And I don't have enough breath to go through all of them, but it's an amazing piece. And then finally, this Batman artwork in AMR 1's CAF gallery by Bruce Timm. All pieces here could have equally won this award.
Oh, what a tight race.
It was. I'll
I
tell
mean,
you, 2 votes separated this one here.
wow.
I
Yeah.
can
I
tell you
mean,
that.
just both of these, your jaw is on the ground looking at both of them. And so
No,
congrats to
I
both
agree.
owners.
Yeah,
And I'm
it
so
was
glad they're
fantastic.
on CAF for us to enjoy.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, and again, Seamus had a good year collecting, but all those pieces were just fantastic. I remember when we first looked at that Uncle Scrooge, we were just so impressed by how much work went into it, and all of those pieces were incredible. And
I have to admit, when I saw the Spider-Verse piece, I commissioned the artist off the
did
back
you?
of that. Yep.
Again, that CAF has helped. If we wouldn't be seeing this artwork, I mean, those things wouldn't be happening. I thought the same thing, but I was like, oh, I've been out of commissions for a long time. But when I saw that piece, I was impressed. I mean, you haven't seen, and there's a lot of great talent out there, but just seeing something that really is that striking from the color palette, the design, everything about that
And
wedding
for
piece was amazing.
that piece should be pointed out to everyone out there talking about 5 figures and whatnot. I promise you that was not a 4-figure piece. That was under 4 figures. So, there's an example of what can be done.
That's I would never have guessed. You should be circulating contact information after.
People should be out there. When you see that piece, you should reach out, find out. If it's an artist you haven't heard of, chances are it's not going to be ridiculously crazy.
Right. Well, I'm glad that you did that, and I'm sure other people thought of doing the same thing. So, congrats to everybody. In the top 5 there, it was pretty. I mean, the whole category of commissions was pretty amazing. But it comes back down to. I mean, I think that one piece just had so many artists on it, and so probably the size, scope of that piece. I can't even imagine.
And to arrange a jam like that is beyond my capacity for sure. And so that just you're in awe and admiration for somebody who did that.
Exactly. Margaret, that's nice to say that. When I'm thinking of commissioning an artist, I always check CAF to see what their commissions are like. It's a great resource. That's a wise approach, I would say, to it. With over 1 million artworks, there's plenty of commissions out there, and congrats TAMD1 for getting nominated, as well to Black Viper of Dorn, who is Seamus, I believe. So, all right, next category. What do we have? It's the strip art category, and all of these pieces. Well, actually, one of the pieces is not published. So, I was just going to say they're all published, not unpublished. But yeah, let's take a look at this category. Top 5 strip art pieces, and first up is this wonderful Winsor McKay piece in the collection of Chris Kay. This is from 1906. Everybody, I mean, 117 years old, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Next up, this is the unpublished piece. I know this was picked up on that Hakes auction because we promoted it. It's in Wallace Harrington's collection, artwork by Al Williamson. This was the Star Wars Tryout number 12 strip. Then in Dino's collection, this Hal Foster, amazing piece. This one's from 1946. I'm sure it's gorgeous in person, as all Hal Fosters are. And Monty B, a Hal Foster for himself as well. This wonderful Tarzan strip from 1932. And last but not least, one other Hal Foster, Prince Valiant, in the collection of Christian Stokely. Again, all 5 of these are fantastic, but only one.
These are the collectors in smoking jackets, in rich leather chairs with these impeccable collections. What a great selection! And wow, congrats, Monty, again.
Yes, Monty has won his 2nd award this evening, and deservedly so. This Tarzan, I mean, when I saw it, I mean, you just don't see these kind of pieces come up on CAF too often, or see them on Heritage in auctions too often. I mean, that was a pretty rare piece from 1932. I mean, 91 years old, unbelievable. And again, I'm so happy that Monty shares these pieces on CAF. I mean, a lot of people who collect this kind of.
He's a prolific poster as well. I believe.
He definitely is. But again, it's some of these pieces you might want to keep to yourself, right? And so I'm very happy that Monty shares his collection. But yeah, this one was actually very close in the top 3 vote getters. It was basically 57, 56, 55 on the votes. So
interesting point by Mark Levy then.
Oh, I actually wasn't looking at the comments, but Prince Valiant split the vote. Yeah, that's very true. That is very true. Unfortunately, because I do
I thought
believe
the
a
Star
Prince
Wars
Valiant.
piece was really interesting too, though.
I did too. When we got to see those, I mean, because Hakes had taken those to San Diego. I think it was the auction was right after San Diego, so I think I got to see some of those pieces there. They were all gorgeous, you know. They because they had like the strips, tryout strips 7 through 12 or something there.
And not to take away from the Windsor McKay. I mean, Chris Kay has an impeccable collection. Everything he posts is just amazing.
Without well, yeah, all of those collectors. Dino, I mean, how often do we talk about Dino's CAF gallery? And Christian as well, Wallace. I mean, again, anybody you know who's in the top 5, you know, they've got a good art gallery here on the site. But congrats to Monty on this one, and congrats to the other 4 for making it into the top 5. See, Tim was thinking that the Star Wars strip would take it, and yeah. I mean, it was a good one. It was definitely a good one. But I mean, up against the Hal Fosters, it's always going to be tough. And Prince Valiant did win last year. I went back and looked at that because I was curious myself with all the Hal Fosters in this one. So, sorry, just looking through the chat one more time here. There you go. Brett says at the rate he's winning, the show will be the full Monty. We'll have to rename it. Well, I won't say whether it's his last or not, but you know. I can see that we should keep this thing rolling. So next up, another off category piece award that we're going to have here. And this is going to be for the top commented artwork that was posted in the year 2022. And typically, I mean, I think this was true even last year. Pieces posted at the beginning of the year tend to have the best chance of winning the most commented artwork in a given year. It just stands to reason. And with this particular piece, I think I did check it, and it was posted early in January. So it had ample opportunity to get there, and it was, but deservedly so. I'd say it should be the number 1 piece that was commented on, but it was very close. And I'll tell you who also almost got this one after I show off the most commented piece of the year.
Well, I mean,
it's yes, this piece, of course, there was a lot of conversations going around with this piece, you know, with how they put it up for sale. There was speculation on who bought it, but Mr. Fish did indeed purchase that incredible piece of artwork. The most, what is that, the most printed comic book in the history of comics. I mean,
you know, it gave me a thrill just to see it again on screen. You know, it's just one of those pieces.
Exactly. And it did have, let me see, I've got my list over here. It had 102 comments on it, but the runner-up had 101 comments on it. And that piece was in Comic Art Boston's CAF gallery. It was the Man of Steel, page 22, that John Byrne piece where he's flying up, you know, that
That's
one.
A great one.
And yeah, so it was that close. One vote separated those two, one comment separated those two pieces. And then after that, Bill J actually had the 3rd and 4th. Oh, no, actually the 4th and 5th. Khalil's Amazing Spider-Man 257 was the 3rd highest comment getter last year, 91 comments. And then Bill J was after that with 89 and 84. And then Amir was after that. Mikhail, you had 80 comments on your Killing Joke page. So you were in the top 6 or 7 as well. And
that was a late July post. I'll think it better next time.
That's right, exactly. Try to buy early in the year. Try. And Larry, how do you know he had 4 to 10? I guess Larry knows all. But yes, Bill had a Paul Smith X-Men cover was in the top 10, a Michael Golden What If cover, and his other 2 pieces were a Sienkiewicz New Mutants cover and a Marvel Saga cover. So Bill J did have 4 pieces in the top 10. And Jim Halpern actually had the 9th highest, the Dark Knight Returns cover, number 1. So great company, Mikhail, in the comments section for most comments of the year.
The community has been very chatty this year.
Indeed, yes, and we'll talk a little bit about that very shortly. But let's see what's next on our awards list. Now we have the pinups, illustrations, and trading cards category, and a very interesting set of artworks in this one as well. One of my favorites, though, as far as just looking at the scope of the artwork that was in that category, there were
some doozies
I would love to have in my collection. And I'd say pretty much every one of these pieces that we're going to show right now, I would kill for. Well, almost. Okay, I can't say kill. I'm on a live stream. I would never condone any bodily harm to anybody, but these are 5 fabulous pieces that anyone would like to have in their CAF
felony
gallery.
worthy.
Yes. So here we go. Let's have a look. First up, once again in the collection of Matt E., this Alex Ross painting. This is of course, Justice League of America. I don't know what it was done for, but it's spectacular. Then Kirk Dilbeck had picked up this piece, and this is the Doctor Strange poster painting by Kevin Nolan, done in 1983. Lots of talk about that one and the coloring and whatnot. Then Seamus and Sharon, another piece from them. This is a Dan Brereton Weird Science Space Girl piece. Who doesn't love Dan? I mean, he's one of my favorite artists. And okay, who doesn't love Brian Bolland? Well, Joseph Melchior does, certainly does. He reps him. But this is one of my favorite pieces added to the site this last year, the Forbidden Planet piece. And then Matt E. actually got a second piece in this one, this Frank Frazetta Kubla Khan portfolio piece from 1977. Absolutely stunning. All 5 of these pieces are amazing, but only one can be our winner this evening.
Oh my goodness! I thought the Bolland would take it for sure.
I did too, but you'll chuckle when you hear the vote count on this one. But Kirk, amazing piece. I mean, everybody who was buying books back then always remembers that piece. It's just gorgeous, and even despite a little bit of fading on it, I think people still love it. But Joseph's piece did come in second. Kirk had 59 votes. Joseph had 58, so 1 vote separated those 2 pieces. And but they both very deserving. And again, like I say, I'd love to own just one of those 5 would be well appreciated in my home. Maureen,
I remember when the Doctor Strange piece sold. I even in the follow-up Heritage recap, I think it was the piece that was spoken about the most. It was just so compelling.
It was. I mean, everybody initially was kind of surprised at the fading and everything that was going on because you remembered how striking it was originally, but still, it's Kevin Nolan. I mean, it's such a memorable image, and congrats to Kirk. Kirk added a lot of wonderful pieces to his CAF gallery throughout the year. I didn't see all the 5, which 5 pieces he picked to show, but he just has an amazing collection, and just congrats to him for earning this award. It's he earned it for certain. And I'm seeing Jason voted for it. That's he voted twice, he says. Well, I don't know how you did that, but congrats on however you did that. I love the comments going on in the chat here. It's good. But all right, so next up, we're moving right along on here. Now, the DPS category. First time. We haven't had a DPS category for a very long time, as Brian mentioned, I think at the end of last year when we were kicking it around there, he always felt that the DPS category didn't get a lot of love. Well, I think it did get a fair amount of posts this year. And the surprising thing was about the DPS category was that when it was all when all the pieces were posted, I went in to see. I'm like, what did James post this year? Right? He didn't post a single, because he was probably the most vocal person to get a new DPS category. He didn't post one piece of art in the DPS category. So James, I know you're watching, but I have to take umbrage with that, because I was like, wait a minute. I thought, like, did James even participate? So then I went and I looked, and I'm like, oh, he did put 5 pieces in, but not a single DPS. So for shame.
How the wheel turns.
Exactly. Well, there were 81 pieces submitted to this category, and again, I'm kind of looking at it on the side, and every piece is great. I mean, DPSs by themselves are just always spectacular. So we needed to have this category added, and I'm glad that we did. And all of these pieces, again, I would pretty much take any one of these and be happy to be the owner of them. But let's see whom we get to honor this evening. Larry Tan up first. We got a Mark Silvestri, Joseph Rubinstein. This is the X-Men versus Avengers, issue 2 from 1987. Then Jim Lee, Scott Williams, of course, from Uncanny X-Men 272. This is the DPS from pages 2 and 3 from that issue from 1991. And J.H. Williams did this wonderful Detective Comics issue 860 DPS. And love the graphic quality in that one and love his art. Then Classic, of course, from X-Men 107. This is Dave Cockrum and Dan Green, of course, in the collection of Ted Latner. And finally, Silver Surfer 50 Title Splash by Ron Lim and what was that? Tom Christopher in Fish Benz's CAF Gallery. 5 fantastic DPSs.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
What a great category. I mean,
yes, absolutely. We've needed this for a while because, but yes, congrats to Ted on this pickup. I mean, as far as, I mean, you could just say as far as splashes go in the world, you know, in the Uncanny X-Men realm, that's one of the most memorable. And being like so early in the run and being a Dave Cockrum piece, you know, beating out Jim Lee. I mean, I had both of those guys in my top 5, as everybody remembers in my X-Men voting. But yeah, that one's great. The Silver Surfer, of course, very deserving.
stunning, yeah.
They were both. I mean, both pieces got. Well, Fish had 98 votes on his Ron Lim piece, and Ted had 107 on his. So you know, very close, but a lot of votes.
Too.
Very good numbers, right? Exactly, and that's why I wanted to mention it. They have one piece. I think that's the first piece that got over 100. No, it's not the first piece. The Drew Struzan and Indiana Jones had 106 votes. So this is the second piece tonight that got over 100 votes in any category. And there is
congrats,
one
Ted.
other one.
Congrats to all the finalists. Those are great.
Absolutely. And Rabid Ferret on your Uncanny X-Men. I love that one as well. I mean, all pieces were great. Larry had a banner year. He was rating the FedEx boxes and whatnot and pulling out some amazing artwork all year round. And so congrats to the top 5 finishers and especially to Ted on that wonderful pickup. So moving along to, this is I debated, do we do another most comments award this year? Because we always know who's going to win this award, but I went back and I looked and a couple things I want to say about that is that Marcus, he's a master in the chat, he's a master on the site. I think that maybe next year what we need to do is come up with is vote on our 5 favorite song redos, homages that Marcus puts together every single day practically on the site. I mean, I've gotten a couple. I'm sure, Mikhail, you've gotten a few.
It's astounding, truly astounding.
Yeah, they make CAF a more special place every single day. And and when we were trying to come up with the idea for this, I mean, I knew I wanted to give Marcus an award last year. It's like, we need to honor somebody who's just who's going above and beyond, just doing special things for the hobby. Standing out in one way or another. And to me, like last year, and just having spent all that time with Marcus in the chat for the last almost 3 years now, I knew that I wanted to give him an award. And it was like, how do I quantify that? Well, okay, I know how to give it to him. It's the most comments. It's the easiest one to do. But that was kind of the idea going in, was like, how do I give an award to somebody who I think really deserves the recognition for being, somebody who stands out in a crowd of the hobby and exemplifies the things that I appreciate. And I think everybody else in the hobby really appreciates, right? I mean, just, it helps bring us together. It creates a sense of camaraderie and humor that, I mean, are just are a necessity for a good friendship and a healthy community like we have on CAF. And Marcus definitely earned that last year. But I could go on and on about Marcus here. But let me go ahead and show his the little presentation here, because Marcus set a record. As everybody remembers, I think he had 18,300 comments in 2021. We could take guesses. I mean, we maybe give you guys like 15 seconds to think, how many comments did Marcus make in the year 2022? Huh. A man of so many words comes back with a huh. But yes, it was, you did break that record last year. Nobody wants to guess, I guess. So I might as well just go ahead and play it. And then if we, oh, there we go. Here's the guesses rolling in. There's a few close ones there. Very few close ones. 1 million. That's a little overly optimistic, but 1.5 million for Michael Callahan. Yeah, that's a lot. Even for Marcus. But yes, art, and as Marcus said, thanks everybody. Looking at art is reward enough. Exactly, and I would agree. But let's go ahead and play the clip. Here we go. 2022 most comments. Marcus, you committed
Wow.
23,237 comments last year.
You say committed like it was crimes.
Oh my good. Well, I didn't know you're guessing away, but my goodness, Marcus, you are definitely part of the glue that keeps CAF what it is, and I so deeply appreciate all of that. You go over and above, what I'd expect from anybody, as far as spending time and on the site, and then at the same time making everybody feel welcome. It's just an honor to have you be a part of the site, and I'm really happy that you continue to do what you do on the site and here in the chat every single time we're on. So, yeah.
It's just a joy. It's just when you see that email come in, that there's a comment from Marcus Y. Well, you
exactly.
just you get excited.
Agreed. And he is not on the payroll, Brett. He is not. He probably should be with all the time he spends on the site, but no, not at all. Yes, full-time CAF commenter. He's going to have that as his moniker one day. So keeping with all that in mind, though, I mean, Mikhail and I talked about this, and I think we've got a good plan going forward with the concept for being able to bestow an honor like this on somebody on an annual basis. It's just something that we want to promote good stewards in the hobby. And I think that there are so many, right? I think of all the people who volunteer to spend time on the channel, in an interview, on the show last night, for instance. I mean, there's so many people who take a lot of time out of their day to just make things in this OA community.
Too much time, my wife would say.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't.
But it's amazing. You're right. I mean, we were talking, and there's no shortage. The list is not a short one of people who go above and beyond to make this a fun and successful experience for everyone.
Agreed. And we kind of talked about it too late, but what I think we're going to do next year is solicit nominations. From through the CAF update, and probably through a few emails, we'll ask you to submit some names and tell us why. Because there's probably things that go on in this hobby that we don't even know. People who are very charitable, that we just aren't aware of, or who do other things that really deserve recognition. So I think opening it up to nominations, and then what we'll do is kind of put together a board, or whatever you want to call it, a group that will review the nominations, and we'll figure out amongst ourselves who we would bestow that award to every year. So, but this year we didn't have that opportunity because we didn't solicit any feedback from the audience. But Mikhail and I did talk about it.
I feel like the answer would have been the same regardless.
It would have. I do too as well. So let me go ahead and play the clip, and you'll see who has won this award. And I can tell you, I asked Marcus once for a list of, we got to name this award, Marcus. I mean, you were the first person to get it. And his first list of awards, I can't repeat. So as far as giving it a title, I can't. I didn't even tell Mikhail. I'll tell him off air. But when I went back to Marcus and I said, we're really going to do something, he actually came back with some good ideas. So I actually took one of them and put it in the title. It's not necessarily going to be what the final naming of it'll be, but at least it was something that I could put on it, and it was CAF centric. So it was called basically the CA fandom, so CAF fandom award. But I had to come up with something initially. So but expect that to change. But here we go. For making the hobby a better place for all, Mr. Jeff Wedding, member since 2009, and it's an honor to call Jeff my friend, and I think many of us can say that. And Jeff is actually in the green room, not knowing that he was going to be here for this, but I'm going to bring him onto the screen. Mr. Jeff Wedding, you are muted, sir. Don't say a word until you fix that.
Well, hello everybody. I am muted. Jeff, I got ambushed tonight again.
Jeff blinds you with his generosity and his bonhomie.
Without question. I mean, Jeff, you could have won this award last year. You do things in this hobby, whether it's the Las Vegas chapter of Comic Art Fans. You started that with Matt and Daryl, and you make people welcome when they come to Vegas. Just the tchotchkes that you had printed up, doing the poker chips. the things that you gift people. It's just amazing that you have this much well-meaning concern for the hobby to make sure that everybody's happy and getting along, and you want to share your time in the hobby with them. I mean, it's obvious. And yeah, when both Mikhail and I both knew that, you know, we wanted to give this to you this year before we even sat down to talk about it. And it really is an honor. I mean, you've really exemplified what I hope we have more people like you in the hobby. And there's a lot of deserving people, but you have made us all really, really happy this past year or two.
Well, I just want to say I'm deeply honored to receive this award from the Academy. I wish I had some of the blue hair gel that Mikhail's been drinking this evening. But yeah, I mean, we're all here to have fun, right? And whatever way we can come up with to keep the fun flowing, that's what we're going to do. And, you know, I found a few little ways to do that over the last couple of years. And, you know, now that we're starting to get back together in person again, it just, you know, seemed to be kismet. So really appreciate it.
Well, the whole hobby does, Jeff. It really, I mean, I've learned a lot from you. I mean, it's something that, again, just the simple gestures that you've done have helped me feel like there's so many more things that I can do. And I think that that's the kind of leadership that we need, you know, in this hobby, you know, because you're leading by example every single day. You know, I was going through photos. I was going to do a little slide collage of Jeff Wedding in 2022. You know, when you went to visit Nick Barucci or Kavi. I mean, you're just spreading goodwill wherever you go, whether it's at a show or just having people get together in Vegas at you know, for lunch or dinner or whatever. I mean, there were a lot of those. I just ran out of time, so I couldn't create this little memory.
There would have been a lot of these in the video.
There would have been. There definitely would have been. But that was the great thing. Just going back and looking at that, it was just like, yeah, every single image that I see with you, Jeff, you're really just being a great ambassador for the hobby, and I just really appreciate that. So thank you.
Well, thank you, and I look forward to next year because I'll have a list of other folks like me
Good.
to nominate. So
Well,
we've got a great batch of folks in our community, and it's just been wonderful this past year to get around and see everybody. So
great. Well, we will. It'll be Marcus will be a part of our quartet next year to kind of take in the list of people who are nominated and determine who we want to award that to. So, congrats, Jeff. And thank you for all you do.
I'm just going to throw it out there now for the record, the Marcus Way Community Spirit Award.
We're going to name it after Marcus.
Name it in honor of our first honoree.
I am perfectly fine with that. I actually had suggestions for that too. I was just like, would Marcus want that? I don't know. But now we can put it out there and we'll have Marcus.
Well, now we can outvote him. So.
It's bigger than Marcus now.
Numbers.
All right. But no, this is great, Jeff. Thank you. I'm glad. And I do want you to hang out for the final, you know, the final toast and everything we do at the end too. But thank you. I'm glad you were able to get out of work to be here with us.
Yeah, I got a Diet Pepsi ready.
Oh, that reminds me. I've had a Coke sitting here this whole time and I haven't drank it once. All right.
Congrats,
well,
Jeff.
Yes, congratulations. I'll drop you out. We'll
Thanks,
move this
everybody.
along and I'll see you shortly.
So-
All right. The way of the Marcus.
Way to get away from the Big Cox Award.
There you go. Exactly. Those now
Marcus
it's starting to sound a
Ray,
lot like those. You guys just want me to read what Marcus sent me for that first time, don't you? I'll do it. I'll do it. It's embarrassing because it involves me in one of them at least. What was the first one? Let's see. The Distinguished Cox was one. Or the Cyclops Leadership Award, which of course is another dig that I constantly get for my, you know, and for good reason. So those were the first ones, and then when I asked them to be serious, I got the more serious ones. But Marcus, you and guys like Jeff really make the hobbies super enjoyable for everyone, and I'm happy to now form this quartet. So next year we'll be able to properly come up with a nomination board and bestowing this award on somebody who also is deserved. So now we're down to the final three awards, and they're probably the ones that everybody's most interested in. Of course, the first one is the splashes and title pages category, and there was definitely a walk-away winner with this one. But let me go ahead and show you the top five. And first up is this piece by Lynn Varley in the collection of Greg Clausen. And this is another piece similar to the one we saw earlier. This is from The Dark Knight Returns, issue 3. Then we have this Jim Lee Scott Williams piece by in the Fish Benz's collection, another great piece. Fish added many great artworks to his CAF gallery this last year. Amir E. has this Barry Windsor Smith incredible piece from Marvel Comics Presents 79, page 1 from 1991. Then DT Tube, kind of a making ripples on the site. He had actually 2 pieces. This is the first of 2 from him. Marvel Comics Presents 87 by Sam Keith, and this piece in his collection as well. This is by Todd McFarlane, the Todd father himself. Spider-Man issue 11, page 9, featuring Wolverine. So congrats to everybody who got their pieces nominated in the top 5.
Wolverine is essential in winning this category.
Without question.
And the panel page takes it.
Yes, Amir E. got it. I mean, and it's, Barry Windsor Smith, always high on many people's lists. But, if you think about classic storylines for Wolverine, that was one of them. I mean, the X-Men piece, gorgeous, finishing in second in Fish's CAF gallery, but it was 40 votes separated those two, so it was an overwhelming love for Barry Windsor Smith, and deservedly so. I mean, I think Barry, I don't know if no, there was a Barry Windsor Smith piece that won 2 years ago for best cover. I was gonna say I don't recall if a
did the splash go in the hardcover? Did the hardcover splash go in the cover category? Is that the one?
I don't recall. I'm gonna have to go back and look, but. Congrats to Amir.
Congrats to Amir. That was amazing.
I completely agree. And panel page for the win, says Michael Callahan. That's true. Very, very true. And I thought, it is what it is. If that were in the panel page category, it would have won hands down. Because in the interior panel pages, which we're going to look at next, the most artwork was posted there. So the highest vote getting piece in that category only got 38 votes. So it just shows you how diluted it is because there were so many pieces. And I forget that I have to look here to see exactly how many pieces were in the let's see, Splash. The Splash one, which we just saw, was 151 pieces, and the interior pages had 371. So more than double. But yes. So why don't we take a look at that? But again, congrats to Amir on that one. And it was definitely
an absolutely iconic image. I think when it was posted, everybody's jaw just dropped to the ground. So what can you say about it?
Right. I completely agree. So interior pages are next. And again, this was the biggest category with artworks. And this is the first of 2 Dave Gibbons Watchmen pieces. Monty B has got this piece in there. This was from issue 7, page 3. Lots of Rorschach in that one. Very nice. Then we've got a John Romita Jr. Daredevil Man Without Fear issue 5 piece in the collection of Jason K. Inks by Al Williamson. Then in West Stephens. Yeah, this one's gorgeous, of course.
I mean, they all are, but West is.
Yeah, he had a good year.
He's hoarding.
Todd McFarlane, Spider-Man 14 on that one. And then Andrew G., the other Dave Gibbons piece. This was from Watchmen issue 1, of course. Very memorable moment from the series. And finally, a Gil Kane Amazing Spider-Man got into the top 5. Inks by Frank Giacoya in the collection of Sam 6.
Very interesting selection.
Definitely.
Andrew G.
Indeed. Andrew G. with the Watchmen 1 page by Dave Gibbons and, of course, Alan Moore. And again, it's back to content, I think. I mean, the story quality, what you remember from that moment. I mean, heck, you could even say the film, right? You remember that as well from that sequence. But the other pieces were all very close as well. I mean, I think from the top vote getters, there was about 7 votes separating them all. But that's what you get in a category like that, where everything gets very diluted. But congrats to Andrew G. Well deserved. I'd love to have a Watchmen page one day. You've got a Watchmen page, don't you, Mikhail?
I believe I entered it in the best of one year, and it did not do very well.
That's what I was thinking.
I was just thinking about that. Funny where the mind goes.
Well, I wasn't trying to touch a nerve there or anything, but I get you. I mean, the thing is, those
Well,
are
it was an interesting experiment in what best of is and how the voting goes, and I think it is something that is definitely you just have to be prepared for it when you enter into the competition.
correct. Yeah, Marcus says no Sandman. Yeah, you just never know. At the end of the day, I mean, I thought it was interesting to get 2 Spideys. I mean, in there, which we don't normally see. A Daredevil page by John Romita Jr.
I thought that was a great page, though.
It was a great page, right? It's not. So I don't know. So diversity is good. At the end of the day, I think having that many pieces in there does make people really look at the artwork a little bit more. You know, I don't know. Diligently, I would hope, but it does spread the votes around a little bit, probably to pieces that we might not maybe not normally get votes, because you're casting 5
And
votes.
it was definitely the category that took me the longest, because the thumbnails aren't helpful per se. You really have to look at the individual pieces.
Agreed. Sorry, I'm trying to break into my Coke here. I've been good for too long. All right. But yes, Andrew G, congratulations. Now we only have one more piece to award a trophy to, and that is in the cover category. And we always save the best for last. And
I can't wait.
Yeah, and again, this year, all 5 of these are amazing. They're absolutely gorgeous.
It was a dogfight. I mean, it was just insanity going through these.
And here we go. First up, we got a Barry Windsor Smith, Pathways to Fantasy #1. This is from 1984 in the collection of Matt E. I think this is Matt's 3rd opportunity at a coveted trophy. Then Wes Stefan gets another opportunity to win one. This is by Jack Kirby Joe Sinnott, of course, from FF84. Just a gorgeous cover. Seen this one in person. It's drop dead amazing. Larry Tan, of course. And this one got to see in person, the X-Men Special Edition homage by Arthur Adams. Hellfire Gala #1 variant cover. Then, of course, wonderful piece. Yeah, Sideshow Bob, another piece in. This one by Tim Sale, Batman Long Halloween cover from the trade paperback. And finally, AMR 1 got this Wonder Woman image by Milo Manera. Cover 1, a variant, I believe. All amazing.
All amazing. Deserving. I mean, when this was posted, it was like a surreal experience, right? I mean,
it was.
Oh, let me just put up, a Fantastic Four cover.
And I had his name backwards on there. I hate to say that. I had it Stefan West. It was supposed to be West Stefan. That's on me. I had to make the presentations today. But yeah, I mean, I saw that one in person. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's so clean. It's one of the nicest covers from that era, I think, that I've ever seen. I mean, is
it twice up?
Yes, isn't it? Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. But I mean, but I've never seen anything that clean. It's almost like it had to have been cleaned. It was so white. But
wow. Well,
Wes,
congrats. I mean, that was just a treat.
Yeah, and I had asked Wes to be on. He's actually busy at a karate tournament tonight with one of his children, so he can't be here with us. But I would have loved to have Wes on just to talk about what a wonderful year he had collecting. And really, I mean, we could have anyone that got in the top 5 this year could talk about what a wonderful year they had in collecting, because this has probably been one of the banner years, that in 2021 as far as our hobby goes. The people who are actively collecting really picked up so many amazing pieces. I know selecting 5 pieces was not easy to put into the best of. A lot of people wanted 10, and I get it. I mean, there were people who picked up 10 home runs this year, easy. And yeah, Wes just swept the leg. That is true, Kelly. Cobra Kai never dies. Thank you, Marcus. But yeah, that was a really, really nice one. And yeah, and at the end of the day, it wasn't really close, because it was like 30 votes separated the first and second pieces in that one. So a lot, but again, that was a very standout piece. That just classic Doom image with the FF and Kirby Sinnott. It's like that's what everybody wants, right? If you're a Marvel fan.
I cannot even imagine. It would be like being in a museum every time you saw it, right? How would you process that?
Right. He's a black belt in art. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, I agree. And I think, so many people in our hobby have museum quality stuff anymore. I think that's just where things are at. We saw the back wall in his space. I saw some EC. I could see some EC covers on that one wall. I was like, yeah, I'd love to be looking at that stuff all day. We think about Dino and his wonderful space that he puts all his art in, and I'm sure West has a similar type of thing going on presentation wise. But yeah, fantastic sets of artwork submitted to this year's best of. I mean, congratulations to everybody who finished in the top 5, but also to, just everybody who participated. I mean, we want everyone to appreciate the hobby, even if you're not going to be able to get a trophy, and we all get to appreciate it every day because we're out there buying and sharing and trading and selling. And so even though we had 1,800 pieces submitted, I mean, it was really, if I went back and looked, and I can have Maureen run some stats, I bet you we probably only had 500 people submit to the best ofs. And you figure we've got 10,000 people actively posting artwork to their CAF galleries every month. So, it'd be nice to get 10% participation. If we can get 1,000 people interested in the best ofs, I think that, that would be even better. It would add to the diversity of the pieces that get votes. And again, it just makes it more enjoyable for us all. So, I'm going to continue to encourage people to play along, be a part of this, and it just makes the hobby all the more fun for us all. We love showing off our artwork. That's why we're on CAF to begin with, right? So
and to that degree, to that point, an extra, like you're saying, an extra special thanks to everybody who voted, because to take the time out and take the consideration and to cast your votes, it just adds so much to the whole. It wouldn't be fun if it was just 50 or 100 people making the decision. So.
Exactly. So Michael Callahan said that I got no love this year, but my wife got a top 5 pick. She says thanks to everybody who voted for her. Well, Michael, that's how it goes sometimes. I mean, I put some pieces in. I didn't think they were going to get in, and they didn't. But it's all about trying. I look at it as, again, your one last opportunity to get people to see artwork that you picked up this last year and really felt a lot about. And I think it's
didn't your Cockrum Nightcrawler piece make the top 5
last year I had 2 pieces in the top 5.
Yeah.
That John Byrne Phoenix convention sketch. So I had a good year in 2021. I had a good year in 2022 as well, but not as good as 2021, that's for sure. CAF equals democracy in action. Thank you, Michael McIsaac. But
and I won't be telling tales out of school when I say that my wife said she wins because I dressed up today. So she's waiting for the telecast to end so we can watch TV with me in a tux.
There you go. That's great. You're going to keep the tux on for a little longer. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat. Well, at any rate, yes, we can't tell you how much we appreciate it, everybody. But so, what we'll probably do, Mikhail, is we should do some kind of roundtable in the next week or so. Do something live. I mean, maybe we'll make it a part of the CAF update. Just devote 20-30 minutes where we can have an open discussion about changes we might like to see on the best of. So breaking up a few of the categories, and then again, any other feedback we get from people in the audience. I mean, I would
love to hear well-considered feedback from the audience.
Right. And I mentioned this to you, like somebody had sent me an email saying, in the cover category, there should be at least 2 different variations, where one where it's a pencil only cover and one where it's an ink cover, because nowadays a lot of modern covers are pencils only because they're getting digitally inked. I mean, a pencil only cover is not going to stand up against a traditional ink cover ever. Well, okay, don't say ever, but almost never.
It's going to be very difficult.
Very, very difficult.
When you think about the thumbnail stage, just from that point alone, it's going to be faded.
Right. And so how do you account for that? Or do you just not? It's, there's a lot of, or a painted cover, Brian Peck says. I mean, it's true. If you had a painted cover versus a pen and ink versus a pencil only, how do you, it's too difficult. You're going to end up with, but then again, who knows? You might always have Alex Ross painted covers in the painted cover category. It's hard to say. It's hard to say until you try it.
Yes.
So if you don't experiment, you'll never learn. So next year we'll consider some changes to things as we always do, and we'll let you know what we end up deciding. But, so again, thank you one and all. But why don't now we can talk about CAF. It's 20th anniversary. One thing that I made a little presentation, a very short one. We've looked at photos and things, the history of CAF, what Maureen and I and Mr. Chris Haggard looked like back in the day when we started this thing. I mean, I had a lot less hair. I made a special trading card that I'm going to be giving out this weekend to the people who get to come out, to commemorate the 20 years. So you get to see me in year one.
Wow.
And
I don't think I've
course,
seen that picture. I would have had my way with it.
I have buried that picture so that nobody can see it. But you look on the back wall there's an Adam Hughes Wizard cover that I don't have anymore. There's a John Cassaday, was that Astonishing X-Men #4 cover. Yeah, a lot of stuff I don't own anymore in that picture. Very sad.
Don't worry, Bill. I'll get that into the scanner and I'll have that image soon enough.
But so what I was thinking about, like, well, what did I want to like share or think about on the 20-year, and what I really wanted what I keep coming back to was just the people who've supported CAF over the years and the people who kept coming back. And so I had Maureen run a query for me that showed me how many people that were here in the first year are still here today, engaged with the site. And I was a little surprised because I really didn't think that the number was going to be over like 12. Yeah, because we really didn't have a lot of members back then, and I just didn't think it was going to be a big number. But we actually have 124 members who were there in the first year who are still, because the criteria was they had to have logged into CAF in the last 30 days and have been a member in the first 12 months. So, again, I thought that number was going to be very small, but 124 is a pretty strong number. It is. And the list you gave me is not alphabetical. So, those of you who think you might be in this list, you'll probably have to go back and watch this again at a different time to see if you're in it. But there's a lot of, for me, it's very nostalgic to go back and look at the people whose names have been on CAF for 20 years and have really kind of set this thing in motion as far as the business goes, and a place for our hobby to thrive. And yeah, I mean, here you go. I mean, Bill Wu, Matt Moore, Greg McKee, Mr. Berkey. I mean, it's going by too fast, but you can see, look how, I mean, these are names that we see pretty much on a monthly basis. We're all here in that first 12-month period, making CAF, giving me hope that CAF might become something important to the hobby. And here they all are still, 20 years later, enjoying the site and, continuing to give me hope that CAF can remain relevant for another 20 years. So, I mean, thanks to all those people. And then thanks to everybody else who's, in the last 19 years who've helped make CAF special. I mean, everybody who chooses to share their collections on CAF are so important to our hobby and to the ecosystem. I mean, that's, CAF was started with the desire, with my desire just to see more artwork. I love seeing con sketches when I would be out in the, at a con or whatnot. And then we'd come back and we'd have that site that just allowed you to see 5 pieces. So, I wanted to see more artwork, and, CAF was really born on the desire that I had. And I know it's not for everybody. I don't think CAF represents probably even 10% of the hobby as far as people with galleries are concerned. I think people, we have as many people participating in the site who don't have galleries as do. And that's just because of the, the commerce and things that go on it. But I appreciate each and every one of you that have taken the time to share artwork on CAF. I know it's not the easiest site to post artwork to. I do hope that sometime in the near future we can change that. But the fact that I'm getting pinged a lot here now. The fact that we have been around for 20 years and you're still here means a great deal to Maureen and I, and my family and everyone.
To be fair, once you post a few pieces to CAF, it's very, very easy.
Why? Because just being able to. Well, okay, I see what you mean. Once you understand how to do it, and when you understand what CAF's about, and but we all know there's hurdles. But again, it's an honor to have everybody with us for this long, and it just means a great deal to me. It makes me work harder, knowing that we have this kind of support, and it makes me very optimistic for what the next 20 years will bring. And again,
Bill, allow me a moment to just echo what Jim Halpern said. I mean, you really are, as you said, everyone sees the work you put into this and the passion and the equity that you bring to this in your, attitude and demeanor and approach to the hobby. So I think everyone really appreciates that, and that's what brings us back.
Well, trust me, it means a great deal to hear that. Remember, as we all know, I kind of spent the first 17 years trying to remain unknown in the hobby. Even though people knew me, I really liked being the mechanic. But the last 3 years, getting to be out in front of the hobby and to be doing this with everybody has meant a great deal to me, and it's changed my life in a lot of ways. And I just sincerely appreciate it. And that's why I do feel, yes, we can work harder. I mean, we can work smarter. that's for sure. But we've got a lot of ambitious projects in the works, I think, that I hope will continue to make the hobby a great place for us all to be in. And again,
I can't even tell you to pull the kids out of Pokemon, because now they're winning at that. So
that is true. Kudos to my son this weekend. He got second place, which is still good. It was the largest Pokemon tournament that has ever been held in the world, was this weekend in Orlando, and Ashton took second place to his nemesis that he's never beaten. But again, second place, it's pretty awesome. So yeah,
that's amazing.
I was pretty happy. But hey, I've got a couple people in the green room here as well. Good friends of mine, of course, James and Jeff is. Hey, look at that. Wow, you were on the red carpet. James, my goodness.
I was talking to the celebrities beforehand.
Well, it is an awards night, and that's great. I should have used that as my background tonight. I love that. But I'm glad that you're here.
To do the Ghost Awards red carpet show next year.
Yes, exactly. There we go. That's better. Hey, Dino. Oh, Dino's promoting the Quantum Mania.
Dino's at the premiere.
Are you?
He's inside the building. I got stuck outside.
I don't know. Say something, Dino. You're not coming through on audio for us. Tom Cruise.
It's almost surreal to me that Dino did not win anything this evening. He was in the list, but he was in the list, but we have such high expectations of him now because his gallery, his taste is so exquisite.
He got my votes.
Dino's
especially on that Beyonder piece. That was gorgeous.
Yes.
Check it. Hey, Dino, like in that bottom thing where it says settings, check what your audio is set to. It might not be set to that the microphone that you have on your headset there. But yeah, well, everybody's going to see Quantum Mania. I don't get to see things until they're about 4 weeks old. I still haven't seen Avatar yet. Okay, who has everybody else seen Avatar? I assume. No. Okay, James. Okay, well, okay then. I guess I'm not going to feel that bad then.
I haven't even seen the new Doctor Strange movie yet.
What?
I know.
And you're a Marvel fan. What's wrong with you?
I read.
You have to at least do Wakanda on the big screen.
Well, you can see that on
seen
Disney Plus
since
now.
Top Gun.
Man, okay.
I don't know. My last big movie was Top Gun, so you can see how far I am behind.
Well, I
didn't
see it.
James and Jeff, your thoughts on the process, the voting, what did you guys think? Do you enjoy looking through the pieces and selecting winners? Any surprises?
Yeah, it was a time investment, that's for sure, because there was a lot of scrolling. I guess, I don't know. That's the biggest thing, going through and clicking it all, and then what I was going to do. I guess you asked, right? We'll throw it out there. If you click one to go on your favorites, I wish you would pull it from the bottom of the list. That way, when I go back into CAF, because I won't do everything at once, I know what I've already clicked. Like if I'm scrolling through everything again, because it shows up again, I think.
What do you mean? I mean, because the way it was supposed to work, well, the way I believe it works is when you favorite something and save it, they're moved to the top of the list.
Okay.
So, because it's really a two-step process. You can select your favorites so that, because maybe you have 30 favorites in a given category, like interiors. Let's see if Dino's got his.
I think I'm better. Hey, guys.
Yes, perfect. But yeah, you pick your favorites, and then that consolidates it, moves them to the top. So then you can come back and then look at those 30 only and cast your 5 votes.
Yeah, there's something from a process perspective. But no, I mean,
hey, I know
seen all the art.
you're a good beta tester, James. So if we do make any changes, I'll be sure to show it to you first. Just don't tell anybody what artwork's added in there.
Deal. I'll vote for you still, Dino.
So I just want to say congratulations, Bill, and to all the winners. Great show. Great just display of just tremendous art all around. And really congratulations to everyone.
Well, congrats to you,
Yeah,
Dino.
2022 was a stellar year.
There was a lot of competition. I mean, the last 2 years have been pretty incredible as far as artworks collected. I mean, CAF, I think, had more artworks added to it this year than any other year. So, and just amazing pieces. I mean,
and let me say shout out to Mikhail, great host, that gives class to everything we do. And
Oh, you're too kind,
I think
honestly, it's so much fun to be here and be a part of the community. And it's like the voting. It takes time. I think all of us invest time in this hobby. And it's why I will harp on people to scan their pieces or get a good picture up. It's an investment in time that makes the overall experience better. And, and of course, if there's people taking camera pictures, that's fine too. But
I fixed those. I'll tell you, there was, I was going to give one person a hard time not on camera because they had a piece that got in the top 5 that was curled. I mean, and it was like laying on the couch, and I literally had to crop it, skew it in Photoshop to make it look better. And it's a great piece. I was like, son of a gun. All right. And then I had a dodge on Photoshop, lighten the other one because it was taken with the camera. But it is what it is. But James, now that you're here, no DPS submitted this year. I made that category for you, and you didn't even submit one piece. How could you do that?
Well, I'll talk to the DPS first. I just got so much art. My 2022 was kind of a record-setting year for the number of pieces. There was a lot of churn, and I was going through them, and the ones that resonated the most were not DPSs.
Wow. Well,
it's still the best value out there. It's still the best piece, kind of art you can buy. In my opinion, it's just the way that the dice got rolled this year.
It was a fun category. I mean, what a great collection.
It was my favorite of the best of CAF.
Right. I mean, because before that, those pieces were always going in the splash page, and it just wasn't very fair to have them kind of mixed up like that. But James, wasn't it this year where you had picked up something and then you said you were going to take time off, and it was like literally the next day you were adding new artwork? Did you call
my wife or something?
Well, I just remember distinctly. I don't remember what the piece was, but you got some piece early in the year, and you were like, "I'm taking months off," and it was like that wasn't even a week later before you were posting more stuff, and then it was every week you were posting literally like 2 pieces a week.
Well, I think we've all been
to
there.
my credit, I sold.
James a hard time.
Did some deep cuts, and so there were some pieces that got sold. So I had my art funds refreshed.
Fair.
You
might have oversold
at night.
Yeah. He's an addict, says Jason.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
I want to figure out what that piece was.
I mean, if you think about Fish's DPS, it was 2 characters. Each of them had an 11 by 17 board to be embellished and made real in front of you, and it's so powerful. It's hard to compete on a panel.
Plus, it was from a famous issue, Silver Surfer 50. It's kind of representative of Ron Lim's best, and
what a great story picking it up too, right?
It's phenomenal.
It was the Doctor Strange one. I got off Dueling Dealers.
That's right. That's why I remembered it, because you picked it up off Dueling Dealers, and you were like, "I'm done. I'm taking a break." Wasn't true. It wasn't true.
It never
Look
will.
At Bob's comment there, Bill.
Oh, it's become an intervention. Oh,
my name is James, and I've got a problem.
But I remember that, James.
But this award validates it, so I can keep doing it.
Right, exactly. But no, I did not talk to you.
I will say, for all you guys that won this year,
you are worthy, James. You are worthy.
Yeah. Well, a couple of them did come off. So there are three of them can be removed, but the other ones are all glued down. But they are gorgeous. So you see, look at that.
No,
if I would have known that he could get gold filament, I would have done that the first time. I had to hand paint those last time. But
That's stunning.
yeah, it turned out great. And it's hard to see, but like, I mean, the bottom is like polished. So the ones that we had last year when he did them the first time, they didn't sit perfectly flat. But these are, I mean, it's like the real McCoy here as a trophy. So
Very cool.
very happy with what my uncle was able to pull together this year.
Excited to trash your house this weekend, Bill.
Let's hope we don't trash my house. We're just now getting it in order. So to have this big get together on Saturday. So I know James and Mikhail will be there. Dino, Jeff, you both will be missed. But, you know, we've got Heroes in June.
Yeah.
So I know there's
Yeah.
plenty of opportunity for us to get together throughout the year. And I'm going to be doing regular get-togethers here, at least 2 a year. And I'll have that show in June or in February in 2024 too. That should be fun. So there's
Yeah, I'm sure you have fun. Just keep the Gators away from Kale and James.
I'll do my best. We're good. Well, I'm not going to give it away. We're doing something fun on Sunday, but you know, because they're here for a couple extra days, so we're gonna do something. We may see a
It'll be
gator.
a field trip up to the big white comic book tent.
I'll say anyone that gets lost in the swamp that brings a portfolio, that portfolio is forfeited to the rest of the attendees.
Nice.
Very, very true. Very true. Hey, I'm gonna have to lock all my stuff up then. I don't want to lose anything. But listen, I don't. You know, again, I'm so happy to have you guys on screen with me tonight. I mean, there's so many people that I owe a great debt to for the not only the last 2.5, 3 years that we've been doing these live streams, but all 20 years that we've had the opportunity to share CAF and enjoy it. And you know, but it's an honor to have you guys with me here tonight. You know, it means a lot. You get all of you and many others have contributed so much time to this channel. And you know, Dino, I mean, you hosted a Dueling Dealers episode, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I had to let you do you try it on the other side of the camera, Bill, and you did great.
Yeah, well, it's yeah, you're not, but again, and James, all the hosting that you've done and setup and prep, and now you got that new show, which was a success last night. Amazing. I'm very happy with that.
I wanted to say, I hope Benno puts his Rich Henneman piece into the sketchbook for consideration in the theme this week.
As an homage, absolutely, he should.
Homage.
If you haven't looked at the entries so far, they're pretty insane. People are just dropping like Arthur Adams homage pieces, and I mean, it's going to be a tough vote.
And as people were saying, next year it's a good shoehorn into best of because you're only competing against 12.
Just 12.
That's right.
That is true.
But to Bill's point, I mean, innovation is driving kind of the evolution of CAF and CAF Live and this channel, and you know what James is doing, what Mikhail and some others have done, and like the shows we had before. I mean, that just keeps things fresh and exciting, and keeps everyone on their toes, right? Excited for the next turn of CAF. So it's a good thing.
Agreed. And Jeff, you know, I've already gave you all my feelings towards everything that you've done on this on the channel. Jeff. And you've done it. You've been everywhere. You've done stuff with Kavi and Ruben. I mean, again, that's why you deserved. You know, many reasons why you deserve this thing. But you've really helped out everybody. And
Jeff's also hosted like
carnival.
a number of get-togethers. He's hosted what, half a dozen groups out in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
I think he's influenced Hembeck's retirement more than anyone else. You know,
That's right.
Actually can afford it.
And I finally got a chance to upload a Hembeck into the sketchbook for February.
Jeff, you
was that a
inspired
Hulk
me to
thing
get
one or
a binder,
Oh,
a
nice.
Hembeck binder.
Oh, here, let me like hold it up again. I want to see it. I want to go full screen here. Let me see.
Inspired me.
Nice.
Nice.
The weekly flip inspired you. That's awesome.
At the back, we've got the Dueling Dealers.
Oh man, you know, I'll tell you, Mikhail, it was a toss up between that card image or you in the smoking jacket. I keep wanting to go back and you remember that one? You're hot. You were like, "Hi." I can't even remember what you said.
Thank you for buying original comic art.
Yes, that's right. Thank you for buying my. It was one of the. You and Dino have have done an amazing job.
I would advocate for Black Widow.
I was gonna say Lipstick Mikhail is the one I
All
would have
right.
voted for.
That's right.
Lipstick Mikhail. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that one.
But Michaela and I had our
Ranga-
lightsaber duel.
Ranga has
Remember
set
that?
the bar, I
I
think,
do.
for cross dressing on a meme. But hopefully he didn't hear
I
that.
now have a new 2023 goal.
Oh no,
Yeah, Aranga may get a card
Purple
for his,
wig.
that's
his
right.
portrayal. That was
Jason's
amazing.
gunning for that award.
Yeah. Silent.
Oh, but hey, why don't we? I poured a little something so I can drink a toast. So I don't know if you guys have something to drink. It doesn't matter what it is, tea, water, whatever. But these past 20 years have been phenomenal. I mean, life changing for me for many reasons. But I'm really looking forward to the next 20 years. I just think that there's so many more things that we can do together. I think the hobby is, it feels to me like it's just like getting started. We're getting a lot of momentum. I think we're seeing a lot of new people come into the hobby. I mean, James and Mikhail, I mean, you're newer collectors in your own way, 5 years or 6 years or so. But it's like, I really look forward to seeing it, the people who are coming in the next year or two and seeing, what their focuses are. I think that we're going to see a lot of changes, but I think CAF can continue to kind of roll with all that and, continue to be relevant as long as we all kind of work together to make sure that it is fulfilling the needs that we all have in the community. So, so here is to the next 20 years.
Here's
Thank you all for
CAF.
being here with me. Cheers.
Cheers.
Catherine Bill.
Thank you to everyone attending online, with your comments.
22.
Exactly. So again, I'm looking forward to this weekend. There will be, I'm sure, lots of photographs and videos taken. It'll be a fun thing. We'll show off what happened next Thursday, and you'll have felt like you missed out. And maybe when we have another one of these, you'll definitely want to come out. But again, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate every moment that I've gotten to spend with so many of you these last 20 years, and I look forward to doing it again and having a fun show tomorrow night too. Just the same old. I feel like it's wax on, wax off over here. Just always trying something that's the same, feels good, and then moving along to the next thing. But guys,
And a special, shout out to like Chris Snorick and people who put, again, so many, like Chris puts in, he was saying in the comments jokingly, but the amount of time that he puts in, you voted, you're complaining about voting for a category with 300
Exactly.
submissions. What Chris does every week is truly incredible. He looks at every single piece and gives us such a great, concise overview of some of the standouts. And so people like him, Nick Barucci, too many to be named, who just give their time and their effort. It's a joy to tune in and to absorb from you guys.
well, it's a pleasure, and I look forward to doing it again for the next 20. But guys, it's been a fun night, and hopefully we'll go round at this a year from now. But thanks for tuning in, everybody. It's been a lot of fun, and we'll see you again very soon.